Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Metadigm Network. This is the new. This is the Secrets of Success. We're going to have success secrets with Family, Business, and Life channel. And this is the Coffee Break Show. I'm Vickie Hemp. We've got new things growing and we're growing into this new paradigm that we're creating. Today is Taco Tuesday. That's right. It's Taco Tuesday. And since we are still social distancing, we are going to be having Talking Tuesday. And today we're going to bring you some of the most important things that we've learned the last 24 hours. It's going to be such an important show. I want to welcome you here. If you've never been on the Coffee Break Show, well, this is a place where we share information, tools, techniques, tips. We give you everything that you need, sometimes up front, to give you thrivability. We're creating thrivability in this group, and I just want to welcome you. So if you're new, do me a favor, put your name down below so we can get to meet you and like you and talk to you and have fun with you as well. And if you're new here, if you're not new here, you're here every day, welcome. I'm so glad that you've joined us today. And so this is the Coffee Break Show. We are now going to be, instead of the Smart Life Club, which is what you guys are used to, we're going to be Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life. This is the channel for Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life. Good morning. And I see somebody right here who's saying, hey, and I wonder, is this Ryan? Is it Furley? Is it Suzanne? Who is hey? Somebody tell me who hey. And by the way, if you look up here, if you're on a cell phone, it won't work as well. It's Tina Frual. Nice to see you. This is Tina Friel. It's Taco Tuesday and we're not at Grammys. Nice to have you here, Tina. Thanks for being on with us. And so we've got some people I want to say good morning to. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Coffee Break Show. So glad. Thank you, Tina, for putting that. It's Tina. Tina, if you look up here, you'll see StreamYard.com/Facebook. If you click that link and click the blue button that shows up, it'll let me see your face and your name. Glad you're with us today. Good morning, always from here. Thank you for being here. Let's see here. Going this way. Thank you. So I had to shut that off so we didn't hear any more dings in the background. Today is super important. If you're here, do me a favor, put your name down below. I see you guys coming on. Welcome to the Coffee Break Show today. Today is going to be super important. We have been ahead of the game at reporting and sharing information on this channel. We told you about in January about how the pandemic would show up here and what we could expect. We told you to shop ahead of time because it was going to be the least expensive it would ever be in the history. And we've also been having reporting going on constantly about what you can prepare for, how you can prepare to make your life a little bit easier about what is coming. And so I want to let you know we have a reporting team that does immaculate work behind us. And we have been pretty much 100% on point as to what's going to happen. The key question in the what's going to happen is always kind of the timing of it. And I want to talk today more about the timing of certain things that are going to continue happening. And I put one of them, we told you back in January that we were probably going to see the breaking of the supply chain. And we talked about all the supply chains that we're going to be breaking, not just medical devices and things like that. But here's the most important one we talked about, and that was the food chain. And when we talked about the food chain breaking and et cetera, and how disastrous that was going to be, where people were going to be looking at, oh, do I buy food today or do I pay rent today? There's a couple of things I want to prepare people for today that I think is so important for you to know. And one is I put an article in that Bloomberg finally came out. CNN has come out, and most everyone has come out right now. And we are moving towards our own country's food supplies breaking down right now. And Marie Jo says, howdy, everyone. Good morning, Marie Jo. Nice to see you on, MJ. So good morning. This is coming from Donald as he pops in. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Coffee is perking on the stove. Made sure we have our coffee supply. That's right. So I want to take a look at the food supply chain is right now under dire emergency, in my opinion. And I want to let you know, while we're doing this right here, I am not an agricultural specialist. However, I inquire with them. And our journalists and our researchers at Metadigm have also been following this for months and months, like since December, and looking at where things are going to be going in the future. I want to just say, what can you do now to grow your future in uncertainty? And that is taking action in advance of something. So let's just say right now that off in the distance, you see a tornado coming. And it's huge. It's not a little tornado. It's a huge, huge tornado. And you're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, I should do something. Well, you have to take an action. Are you going to drive away from the tornado? Are you going to go in the basement during this tornado? What action are you going to take to protect yourself from a tornado? If you're just staring at it and you're like, wow, that is a big tornado, eventually it is going to lift everything in your world, including you, and you'll get caught up in the tornado. And when you get caught up in a tornado, you pretty much get battered and bruised and beaten. You might live, you might not live. So to me, what's happening between this pandemic, which I think is a black swan event, that pandemic was going round and round and round, and it's turning into a category 5 or 6. Now, what the president is trying to do, and I want to say something, I am neither Republican nor am I Democrat. I'm an independent voter, and I have been for a long time. And I don't care what president was in office. When you get these kinds of situations, there is not the perfect president. There is not that, but there is doing something. It doesn't mean that every action has to be perfect. And I think at this time, we need to look at the president and say, some of the information he's giving us is to heed a warning about what's happening in the future and how many people he's got on it. I think there are people out there pulling for us. I think they're pulling for us. So the debate about whether the president's doing a good job or a bad job, is he doing a better job than you're doing? And if he's doing a better job than you're doing, if you're not stepping up and doing something that will help mankind better, then I think that we should keep our focus on what we can do to help ourselves in this moment. Not just, wait till the government does something for us, but we get to the point where we are working towards doing stuff for ourselves as well. So whatever your political beliefs right now, it's not going to stop the storm. The storm that is coming has to be managed by you, because governments in general, not this president or that president, governments all around the world are slow to act. Entrepreneurs and people, it's a known fact that they act faster, they act quicker, they put their name out. And this is the thing. If you see a category 5 tornado coming and you don't move out of the way of it, expecting the government to come along and push a category 5 hurricane or tornado out of the way, that's not going to happen. So how is it? What can we do right now to grow our future when we're in uncertainty? What can we do right now? Well, first things first, you have to reimagine your life. Not try to rebuild what you already had, but rebuild something different. Like, let's look at this differently. Apple computers, when they first came out, they had Steve Jobs, and he was wonderful and it was all great. And what they did was they built this great company, and then they fired him as CEO. He left. They were like firing him as CEO. And then the company started to sink. It went right back down and they hired him again. But what he did when he came in is he didn't try to build Apple the way they were building it before. He built something new and better. So when Apple decided to appear on the market, they didn't say, let's make a new flip phone. We need to make a new flip phone. Let's bring this flip phone out. No, they reinvented and they completely did something different. They created the smartphone, period. And the smartphone and smart technology is where they went. They went forward in that way. BlackBerry decided to stay with, here's my flip phone. And they died because innovation was part of that. If you continue your life and you say, okay, let's rebuild the flip phone, that flip phone is dead. You want to imagine, you want to create in your mind something that is vastly different than the flip phone. Yes, it's a risk. Yes. So what I mean by that is if you go back and you think, man, I should go find a job, I would suggest that you find a new particular, reimagine your life and having different income structures than you already have. You want cash flow veins, those things that will bring you money and build you assets over time. That's the first thing you need to do. You need to reimagine something different than what the past brought. And I want to go back over here and talk to a couple of people because they're talking. Food supply chain in the US is extremely critical, even though the supply, especially meat, is adequate, can't get them to harvest to meat processors or out to consumers. They're using the euphemism depopulating grime. That's very grim. It is really true. I'm going to go there right here. And of course, Karen, because I live close to the source of food and meat, I see how farmers and ranchers are affected. It's more in my face than when you live in the city. That is absolutely correct. Jane says good morning to everybody. See how she can be taught? That's right. Jane. Okay, so here we go. Of course, too many people haven't prepared for this, and that's sad and scary. Now, let me tell you something. If you can get beforehand, if you can get ahead of the game, if you can get yourself to a position where you are reimagining a life, you have to reimagine how your income sources come in. And I want to be very clear. You have to have more than one income source. Now, if you say in your household, me and my wife have a job, we both work, we have two incomes, you only have one income. An income source is a job. And in one income source, there are tons of income sources. So for instance, there is having a business, there's having passive income, there's having a job income, there's having sales income. Those are income sources. If both of you work a job, it's one income source. It's one income type. The type is having a job. And I'm saying when you reimagine what you're going to be doing for the future, you need to be reimagining the point where you are going to be moving forward, creating something out of the box you've been living in. And I like to see this. This makes me happy all the time. Thanks, MJ. So you have to be thinking vastly different about your future. What we want to do is stay in our comfort zone. We want to stay in our little bubble. This too shall pass. The government will give me a couple of checks. I'll go back to work. My job will be fine. There won't be any. We already knew prior to this pandemic that AI and robotics was going to come in and replace all these jobs. So when you start banking on whether a job is going to be there for you or whether that consistent income is going to be there for you for, the next 10 years, you don't know if that's going to happen or not. You don't know if people are going to be there in that position or a piece of software or AI is going to be in that position. And so when you're reimagining, what can you bring to the table as far as a business? Can you do a micro manufacturing plant? So I want to say good evening from Ghana, said Bernard. Nice to see you. Nice to see you on. Glad you're here with us. Thank you. So what you want to look at right now is what are you going to put in place? What are you going to put in place? The next thing you want to look at is you want to make sure it's a business that is going to help the most people. And what I mean by that is most people are going to be a little shy on their money for the next, I don't know, 2, 3, 5 years, somewhere around there, a little shy on their money. And so some of the things they want to be able to afford, they're going to cut back on. Like if I were around, I wouldn't be opening a movie theater right now, but I would be thinking about having a salon for hair, because I got to tell you, I've been without my usual high every 6 to 8 weeks haircut, and I have to tell you that I have so much respect for my hairdresser right now. I got to tell you, it's somebody that's really important to me. And so what I have right now is I want to be able to impart to you that you have to reimagine your life, what's moving forward. So I'm going to tell you a couple of other things I want you to know right now. And I want you to pay attention. We put the articles in there. We post these. We give you months in advance notice about this. So we're about 10 weeks ahead of the game when we said the food supply is going to be disrupted. And we told you then, get seeds. Get growing seeds right now. They're going to be like gold in the future. Now, I need you to hear me out. If you can find seeds, organic heirloom seeds, they're going to be like gold in the future, gold. And they're going to be so precious. You want to be able to start growing food. I don't care if you live in an apartment, get a couple of little round pots and put them, anywhere in the house you can put them, put grow lights on there, get some sort of micro food growing. If you have a house and you have a backyard and you have the privilege of being able to build a garden out in the backyard, build it bigger than you think you can, and start growing your food right there. You want to be able to make choices with your money when it comes down to it. And those choices with that money is going to be, I love this. This is really true. The choices are going to be slim, and you want to be ahead of the game. MJ, this is so true. Most people have been programmed to be one-dimensional. If you don't program your mind will be programmed for you by someone else. I want you to think about that right now. This is the issue. This is why people are not taking action the way they normally would take action. Most people have been programmed to be one-dimensional. They're, follow the leader, follow somebody will take care of me. We are being so entitled right now. But our food supply chains are so critical. And I don't know if you have ever been through a period in your life, ever once, where you did not get fed because there wasn't enough food, or that you did not have access to getting food for somebody, your children that you wanted to feed. If you've ever gone to bed hungry once, or you've ever not been able to supply food, you know how painful that is. And some of the things that we're so used to right now, which are restaurants are going belly up by the dozen. And I don't know how many are going to be up, but I do know this. I do know that when everybody starts going back to work, they're not going to be able to just start going out to restaurants right away. Even that first 8 weeks, that first 10 weeks are going to be very, very slow. And right now it's to the point where you can't go in the restaurant. You have to order it for delivery or whatever and go through the whole thing that they do for coronavirus. So the future right now is going to be the kind of future that says God helps those who help themselves. And I want to let you know that whole premise, God helps those who help themselves. And this is the time when you can hear blood, sweat, and tears in your ears. God bless the child that's got his own. And so in this moment, when you grow food, grow extra food. Grow as much food as you can grow. You don't know what your neighbors got or what they don't have. But I will tell you, it is going to get critical. And how long will it be before that group of people in agriculture get back up? Well, according to the weather and some of the other things, it is not going to be easy food getting for a few years. We had in South Africa And go look online. This is common news, CNN, Fox News, whatever you look at. Go look at the news right now. There has been a huge portion of crops that were completely decimated by locusts this year in South Africa. They were everywhere. It is about having a new life. So again, when I talk about this, being self-sufficient is the new game. And that's what's here. And I'm telling you ahead of time, right now, you want to build your self-sufficiency as much as you can while there's still produce in stores, because it's going to start going this way. And so what's going to happen is, as it goes this way, we are going to see food inflation, cost of food inflation, and we are going to see other things deflate at the same time. I want to listen. Some things are going to inflate in cost. Some things are going to deflate in cost. And food is going to be very expensive. It's going to be the most expensive. That's it right there. If you do nothing for yourself, nothing can be done for you. We must act now. No, those are some wise words, Scott. This is why I love having you on the show. This is the primary thing right here. That's it right there. If you do nothing for yourself, nothing can be done for you. We must act now. And here's the thing. It's going to be a point in time where if you said, I have a farm and a business. A farm and a business is two forms of income. If you have a victory garden and a business, a victory garden and a job, a victory garden and an online business, those things are going to help hold you through the next 4 or 5 years. Here we go. I want to keep going right here. Unfortunately, even in crisis situation, there are more sheeple. Those who follow the herd. Stepping away from the herd mentality shows discernment and guarding your own mind. My whole point of doing the coffee break show is to connect with people, but it's also to give them relevant information, relevant tactics and tools that help their business, their family, and their life begin to thrive, to protect them. We're going into an unknown zone where food is. This is a pretty big one, but we're going to read it here. Yes, even though times are difficult and stressful, these are the perfect times to tap into the gift of innovation we all have as human beings. My mother went through World War II in Japan and they lost everything. It was all destroyed. In order to survive and not starve, their family still had land. They offered the land to the community and they grew food together. Most importantly, they survived and thrived because they did it. This is kind of interesting because we are in this time right now. We have to grow as much food as we can right now. I want to say, here we go. Let me go back up here. Start with the thing you are most motivated to do. Start with a small behavior and do it consistently. This will not only feel satisfying, but also open your eyes to the type of person you can become. It does not matter which domino falls first, as long as one falls. And trust me, all the dominoes are falling right now, and they're all falling all at once. So Bernard, this is so important. You got to get on it right now. If you wait, it can be painful. So I want to go back over to Lori. Lori says, I believe you, Vickie. You seem to always be 121 steps ahead of the game, more than anyone I know. Thank you for what you do. I appreciate you. Greater than 3. I just want to stop for a second, Lori, because that really warms my heart. But I got to tell you, I'm 121 steps ahead of the game because I have the people and the team that keep me 121 steps ahead of the game. There are people behind you. I want to shout out our research team at Metadigm. They are relentless, and I mean relentless, at finding the data that we need to present to people so that they can take an action right now that is going to be beneficial for them in the future. And I'd love nothing more than to be able to take all the credit for it. But I'm just the pretty face that gets to say it to you in the morning. I'm 121 steps ahead because I have a team of people that keep me 121 steps ahead. And I am grateful, beyond grateful for all of them. And thank you for this, because it is so important to understand what assets you can build right now. Now, I want to let you know tomorrow we have somebody's going to teach you how to build some of the best assets, digital assets that you can build right now. And you need to be able to be on that show because we are now really giving success secrets so that you can grow thrivability for your business, your family, and your life. That's what we're about. We want to continue doing that for you in such a way that you are ahead of the game. Being ahead of the game now means taking an action. It may feel like a risk. Like, oh God, I'd invest this time and I invest this money. And what if this doesn't happen? What if the food is? Do your own research. I'm telling you right now, we put evidence-based research on the channel. We put the Bloomberg article about how the food chain was breaking and why it was breaking and where it was going. And right now, ranchers are furious because they have food that they cannot harvest. It's been considered non-essential work, so they've had to stay at home. They haven't planted food. Or if they have, it's been, they're not supposed to, but they haven't. Or more than that, all the immigrants that were coming in to harvest food, none of them are here. There is no place and no working. The chain has been just completely sabotaged. And that, I want you to hear that. Our food chain, our food supply has been completely sabotaged. Yesterday, I think we got, or day before, we got our first order of, Namibian beef. We have beef ranchers all over this country, and they are considered non-essential. We have all of the meat processing plants, all of them. Tyson Food is closed. They killed off millions of chickens already. There is something happening specifically to sabotage our food chain. And the best way you're going to get through it is to gather right now and create supply chains for yourself. What do I mean by that? The third thing I want to put, you need some old people skills. So old people skills is, do you know how to can food? And if you don't, then you better have some canned food supplies. But if you know how to can food, then you grow a lot of food and you can some food. And right now, one of the best ways that you can become self-sufficient is to read right now. What did your grandmother do? What did your great-grandmother do? How did they create their food supply chain? This food supply chain you're creating can't be broken for 4 years. Or the next 18 months, as long as we don't have a kind of cure or some sort of miracle with this pandemic, we are going to see cases of this coming and coming and coming. If the food supply is broken, you need to create your food supply chain. And it has to probably be local. You have to make some, trade for some, can some, find some, but it will be you'll be able to live better if you grow your food, because you will not be making decisions about what little money you're going to have. It's $1,000. Do I pay my rent? Do I pay my electricity? Or do I eat? You don't want to make those decisions. Take some of it off the block. The number one thing you can do is say, well, I've grown my food, so I have it. I have food to eat. Now, when this money comes in, I decide. And so it's going to be to the point where you're taking action right now is what is going to stabilize your future. So I want you to watch. Prices are going to go up. Food prices go up. Energy prices falling. I mean, come on, gas in some places, you saw it. We posted it first. It's 75 cents in some places. So I want to think this is Tina. Absolutely, she said. Thank you. Karen, how can food suppliers ever be considered non-essential? Yes. Doesn't that make it interesting? So I want to go here. After the war, my grandfather founded the Farmers Union of Japan, and he advised all farmers to grow rabbits for a meat source. They turned rabbit pelts into fashion industries called hand muffs, and it was a cash flow in two directions. People ate and people generated cash flow. These are the kind of things and reimaginings that you're going to be able to do. So we'll go back to the 60s when we ate food in season and that was grown within 100 miles of where we lived. That's one possibility, isn't it? So Scott says, right now my concern is the late June into July second wave of infections as a result of the reopening that many states are presently considering. Is the healthcare system ready nationwide, not just in LA and New York, but even in the small towns that now have COVID full seated throughout nearly every US county? It's the old farmers in these locations that we can't lose at the next harvest and winter approaches. We must always be anticipating 6 months ahead right now. And I agree with that. If you want like the best tip for today's show, and I know like you can't see my face, so I'm going to pop it right down. But the truth is you want to be anticipating 6 months ahead of the storm right now. You want to be tracking the storm yourself. And one of the ways you're going to track the storm is to be here, because we're going to be talking about the storm at the Coffee Break Show. And I really want to get to the point where you understand what the future is. I believe that we're okay. My concern is the new generation who does not even know that a cake does not come only from a box. Marie Jo, you are absolutely right, because I think fundamentally I am at the age where I still remember those skills. My mother taught those skills of canning to me. My mother taught me the skills of gardening. My mother taught me the skills of plucking eggs from chickens and things like that. And you're right. I believe we are okay. My concern is the new generation who does not even know that a cake does not only come from a box. And that's the interesting thing. We're going to be learning to cook. These tools, these skills are going to have a birthplace. They are going to definitely come back alive. Robin, hashtag buy local is healthier for you and the community. Yes, you will benefit this country right now. If you want a patriotic duty, if you want one single patriotic duty, supporting a farmer and buying from his CSA or his farm stand or his whatever you can do to support that. There are farmers and ranchers who's got beef and milk and vegetables and everything already. So you can support a farmer. Make sure you support a local farmer in your area. You are helping to keep your community alive, and we need to do that right now. So MJ, never thought about it that way before. Yes. So what I want to say is today, what can you do to grow the future? You need to reimagine. You need to reimagine who and what you are. And we talked about that. We need to reimagine what we're doing. Good morning, all you wonderful people. Good morning, Dee Dee. Nice to see you on. So what happens here is, in the reimagining, we have to think like Apple did when Steve Jobs came back. The company was tanking, so our economy is tanking. And he reimagined a project. He didn't go, let's improve the flip phone. No, he made a completely new phone. He made it more powerful, more usable, more integratable, he took over the market because he reimagined it. So right now you need to reimagine your life. Do it to the point where your future has something new that's more powerful, that's more relatable, that's coming on. The food supply chain is broken. I don't know how many months we have, but I do know that during this time, you have an important decision to make. Get some seeds. Seeds right now, even if you just hold them as assets, they're going to be the most desired and tradable thing around. Now, get heirloom organic seeds. Get those seeds right there, because then they produce seeds. You have something that everybody is going to want in a little while. With seeds are on the shortage. Get yourself a garden plot, whether that garden plot is a plant in your house or a place in your garden or a growing room, etc. Do that now. Be creative, be innovative. And then be creative and innovative. Remember the past so we can create a future of self-sustainability in not just food, but also the richness of people in our community. Thank you. That's so beautiful. Jobs was an idea man that has badass engineering followed with a keen marketing skills. Yes, he was. This is Ginny. I am wondering how you feel about security for the local SLV farmers in our own valley. You know, I'm not sure what you're asking. Is it food security that you're looking at? So I will say in the SLV Valley, we're very fortunate. We are a first source water place, which means we have an aquifer underneath and there is clean first source water. It's not revitalized sewage water. So we also have circles that have been there, and we also have products that are easy to grow. Now, for the growers in the valley, they are in kind of the same boat. They still are considered non-essential. They haven't planted, or if they have, they did it kind of in a rebellious way. Our valley is also lucky to have another product called hemp. We can grow hemp, and that's a super needed crop. And we also can grow weed, which I think there's a flood in the market. But if you're looking for how you feel about the security of the SLV as far as, you know, are there going to be marauders just stealing stuff? I don't know. I would talk to some sort of sheriff or somebody to know that. But what I want to say is, this is the thing. God bless the child that has his own right now. And you have to build your own right now. And it is God helps those who help themselves. Do you understand the power of that? The government isn't going to move what's coming out of the way just for you. Governments have always been slow to act. And now that you know that this you can see where the storm is, monitor the storm. Monitor what's happening. Now, it's hard to monitor what's happening. Don't monitor fake news. Monitor real news. And let me tell you, as much as I like to say, fake news is very identifiable for me. If there are no sources, if there's nobody else reporting on what you're reporting, it's probably fake news. There's multiple, this is the media. The media loves to get a jump on every story. If there's no other big media getting a jump on the story, I might question that. Ask where the sources are coming from. So if you see agriculture numbers and commodity prices moving up, you can pretty much guarantee they're moving up because it's scarce. So right now, I implore you, do the patriotic thing. Give yourself a victory garden. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the show. We have Linda Sterling, and I don't want you to miss that. She's going to teach you how to build all of the publishing digital stuff you can build. And I want to let you know, Linda Sterling is very important to me. She's actually my publisher. All right. Peace out. I'll see you guys later. Bye.